How you doing? We're back at it once again. My name is Ricardo, and I'm joined by my great friend Elijah Powell, my brother in drums as well. We're the host of HBCU Drumline Talk. And Elijah, man, we have covered a lot of miles. When I say miles, I'm just more or less talking about, who we actually have had on the cast at this point in time. Been some great guests recently. Today, we are going to actually focus. We're going to move down into Florida, and we're going to talk with two great gentlemen from FAMU. And it's all about them today. We're going to talk about the greatness, the excellence of FAMU's drumline, as well as their marching band. And I'd like to introduce Taurus and TJ, both great people and both great inspirations to that drumline down there at FAMU. Taurus, I'll let you jump in and take over, and we'll go and get it on started. Just tell us a little bit about yourself.
Cool, man. First of all, thanks for having us on, man. We appreciate the call and appreciate the chance to come on with you guys. Yeah, I've watched a couple of the podcasts. I enjoy it, man. So I'm a big fan. I appreciate that a lot.
Thank you.
I'm Taurus Lovely. I came up in the band as a freshman in 1994, and I marched for 5 years. I marched from 94 to 98, and around about, I would say about 1996, I started writing for the line, and I've been writing for them ever since. From about 96 to this very day, I've been writing for the line. Like my man TJ here with me, he's my nephew. We got blood into this thing. So that's me, man. I came in 94, marched through 98, been writing for him ever since. And I'm not in Tallahassee right now. I'm a touring musician. Drum set is my thing. So for the past 20 so odd years, I've been playing drums on Broadway shows. So I got two things that I love to do. I write for FAMU and I play drums on Broadway shows. So that's me in a nutshell, man.
A lot of talent. Sounds good to me.
Yeah. So for me, again, just like Tara said, man, I definitely caught a number of the podcasts, man. So I really enjoyed it. So again, thanks a lot for inviting us on.
Yes.
Like Tara said, man, I came into FAMU fall 2001. But yeah, when you say we have blood, sweat, and tears in this thing, it's for real. Like, it's 4 generations of our family coming from the early 70s, 80s, 90s to the 2000s here at FAMU. My day-to-day job, I basically, I was a show director for Universal Studios, Disney, for some of the shows that you had, the Sensational Parade and some of the stuff out in Osaka, Japan. So you guys had Marcus on. That was a great show. Really enjoyed it. So had him over there. Other than that, doing a lot of other things. Actually, since I've been off the road doing shows and stuff like that, I've actually been, in the past few years, been instructor down in West Palm Beach at Suncoast High School, and I was teaching at Boynton Beach High School. And actually, when I got back off the road, I had a chance to go back and forth, going back to Tallahassee, because every now and then, me and Tars, we were both touring and playing all the time. We never really had a chance to actually be in Tallahassee that much. So we'll take a trip down, do some stuff, and leave. But I actually had the chance to be back home, be off the road, and actually got the opportunity to head back to Tallahassee to actually be up here now. So things going well.
Man, that's really amazing. And I think this is a true testament. I think we all have, and I like the word that you use, Taurus, blood in the game. When we talk about that, it's a lot of us that go to HBCUs whose brothers, family members, cousins, marched in the marching band, marched with other marching bands. That's that family aspect. And, that's why, you see generations, after generation going to the schools, just continuing that bloodline. So very good point. So it's really nice to meet you guys. Really great to have you guys on today. We're going to jump right on in. EP.
Yeah. Once again, thank you guys for taking time out y'all day. Y'all seem like y'all really busy, in your craft. But so we're going to jump right into it. I guess talk to us about the FAMU technique. If I'm saying it wrong, I guess the rattler drum style, please correct me if I'm wrong. But I guess talk to the fans, or the audience about your FAMU, about the FAMU technique.
All right, Taj, you want to take it, or?
I'll speak first on it. So our style is it's been around for a long time, man. It's the cadences and stuff that we play to this day have been played since the 1960s, man, 1950s, and we still playing these cadences today. Now, like all things, stuff change a little bit, The rhythms of the cadence and stuff never change, but the way we play it, the concept in which we use nowadays has changed a bit from how they used to do it back in, in the 50s, 60s, and 70s, But these cadences we play have been around for so long that other schools around the HBCU world play these cadences just like we do because they've been around for so long. So our style and our concept, when we how can I explain it? We have cadences that we have to learn. When you come to FAMU, there's cadences that you got to learn before you can do anything, because these cadences make our band move. We can't do a halftime show without these particular cadences. Okay, and when you're in high school, you may learn these cadences or something like that. But when you get to FAMU and you come and try to march in our line, now you got to learn it the way we play it. That might be the way you learn it in high school, but when you get to FAMU, you may know the rhythms, but then there's what we call a concept that you're going to have to learn in order to play this cadence right, in order to make your way onto the field.
All right. And I can jump on top of that one. And just because it's something that we have to do, because like Tara said, our band literally cannot function or move without the stuff that we have to learn at FAM. Like for pregame, we have to know slow one. You have to know the pregame sequence. Like even our band, there's no point in time in any of our shows to where we're not either playing, unless it's a bow at the end of a dance routine or a drill or something. Other than that, we're playing throughout all these shows. So instead of trying to get to a point to where we can just start learning material and blocking up and different stuff like that, we have to learn all of this stuff. And we have over 12 to 15 cadences that we have to know just for field shows alone.
Wow.
And the material, I think this is something we'll probably get into later on down the line, but the material and what we're playing is not something that's the difficult part. Everybody knows the rhythms and what we're playing, but it's the interpretation of what you have to play to make sure everything is good. And that's that concept that a lot of people don't understand unless you come to FAMU to actually see it. And that concept alone is what makes and break a lot of people when it comes to the actual style of what we're playing. And once you're playing all that stuff, you got to move. So we're moving this whole time. So some great stuff, man.
Yeah, I will say hats off to you guys. My first time seeing you guys in person was at Honda when my school, VSU, came down. And like you said, it's constant moving, the drum line playing throughout the whole show. And I was like, wow, I wouldn't know if I'd be able to do any of that. But, yeah, good stuff.
I really like what you said, Taurus, about, hey, the band cannot move or do anything without these traditional cadences. And like you said, conceptually, they will change. I mean, the drums change, the sound, the heads change, the sound of the line change, the view of the line changes. The younger folks come in, but the concept still stays the same. And I think that's really great. And you bring up some good things in regards to, the whole band moving along with those traditional cadences. So I'm sure you guys have a lot of alumni that's waiting just for those specific cadences to come up, and they know when they come up and everything.
Oh yeah.
A lot of those cadences, man, like when they actually go through, even if we want to change some of the cadences out, some of the stuff we don't really have too much flexibility with changing out. Like one of those cadences is concert band or solos. Basically at the end of the drill, when we end the drill to set up for our actual concert formation, it's an actual setup to where we actually have to go to different places. And that cadence alone actually sets us where we need to be to go ahead and go through. So even if we change that cadence out to something else, it kind of interrupts the flow of what's actually going on. So
and that kind of segues into my next thing is, and if someone comes up to me and says, hey, Ricardo, what do you think about FAMU? The first thing that comes to my mind is musicianship and excellence. When they ask me, hey, what do you think about their band and everything? Musicians, I say, they're serious, very serious musicians, and it's just a program of excellence. However, there are some people who dislike FAMU. I don't know if that's the correct word, saying dislike, or let's use hate on FAMU. Can you elaborate why they would dislike, or why someone would even dislike what you guys do?
I could jump on that one. For me, it's very simple. I think it's something that people don't understand. Sometimes, well, here's the first problem. A lot of people never actually see FAMU, especially in the past few years. So there's a lot of people that the only way they know FAMU is probably from, since everything happened in 2011, probably when we came back, all they see is that drum line. That's all they see. And they've never heard it in person. They just see some of the material, just what's playing on the field and what's probably being played with the band. In that aspect, you never actually see anything that the band does, or not what the band does, but what the percussion actually does for themselves. The second thing is, when you hear what we're playing and you figure out how to actually play it, they're like, man, that junk's so easy, anybody can play it. Until they find out how to actually play the concept. But a lot of people don't even take the time to try to understand what it is, because when you try to explain it, sometimes it just doesn't make any sense. It's just like, yeah, whatever, and it dismisses it. But I think that's one of the main things, is that people just don't understand what we're doing. And when they see us playing, they're not seeing us playing anything that would cause to a normal person, percussion person, just to want to just chop out and just get loose. You don't see that all the time in all of our material within the band. So it's not your normal thing that you see, or overplaying sometimes with different things. And when we're with the band, we try to keep everything locked in, pocket. We kind of transition and actually playing a lot more on some different tunes and stuff with the band. But usually we stick with our foundation and that balance, and being felt and not heard. And some people, they really want to play, and it's just something that they just don't understand sometimes. So.
Do you think that has to do with folks who are of the craft? And, when I say of the craft, who are musicians, who are percussionists, who are drummers as well, or are these musicians saying, hey, look, I'm not a fan of FAMU because of A, B, and C. I don't associate with them or anything. But okay.
Yeah, I think it's not a really loaded question, but if you go back to when I was marching in the band in the early 90s, and you go back to the early 80s, you're not gonna find that many people who be like, oh man, I don't like FAMU.
Right.
But nowadays, these kids who are coming up nowadays, a lot of kids who I like to poke and have fun with on Percussion Connection, I like to get them going. These kids grew up looking at a FAMU band and a FAMU drumline that was pretty much coming back from nothing. We got the death penalty. We got canceled. So we were rebuilding when these kids, all these kids who don't like FAMU right now, they saw a rebuilding process happening. So they like, man, they whack. They don't look like they used to. They don't, these kids saw the rebuild. Now,
right.
You see FAMU band today, as of 2 or 3 years ago, now you're seeing a lot of attitudes change about whether or not you like FAMU or not.
Well, let me just
rebuild has happened.
Right, and let me just say to you guys at FAMU, I know I was behind you guys. I don't think we need to go into the details. We know what happened at this point, but I was behind you guys 400%. Hey, it's tough to come back from something that happened in the past like that, but you guys have done it, And like you said, the band that you see right now is not the bands when you marched back in the 90s. It's not the band that when we marched. It's not the same thing. So that's a good thing. You know, what you see right now, you're pretty much judging that off of what you see now, not what it used to be.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And as far as our drumline goes, I've heard some kids say this. I've heard some kids, you know, they don't like family drumline. They don't play nothing. They sound like just a drum set. And we say, thank you, because that's what we're going for.
Thank you.
Know, when we play with our band, nobody can doubt the fact that our band, our drumline fits our band style very well. When you hear our band play and you hear our drumline play along with our band, that's our thing.
Yeah.
It's not been a long time that we've been doing drum features with our percussion section. That wasn't our thing from the beginning. That kind of creeped in the late 80s, early 90s, and we started running with it. But our percussion section was all about complementing our band.
Okay.
You know, but nowadays, you know, as of, you know, the past, you know, 10 or so years, we've been stepping out there and doing more features, and now we feel like we got a line that can compete with anybody at this point right now. But in the beginning, our foundation is set at being a grooving line, complementing our band the best we can. And we got a saying that TJ just said, it's felt, not heard. We need you to be felt, and now we need to feel it, but we don't need to hear you. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? And that is, we need to feel that groove, but we don't necessarily need you to be back there banging out.
Right.
You know, but nowadays, like I said, in the past 10 years or so, we've been writing some nice stuff and doing some percussion feature now, and our section has moved into that realm. But that ain't where that's not where we're based at. That's not our base.
Oh, man.
So a lot of guys might not like us for that reason. You know, we wasn't doing a lot of that. So they wanted to go somewhere where the lines were playing a lot of stuff. We weren't playing a lot of stuff for a while. You know, but now we are.
Hey, but just for the record, I've always liked you guys, so.
Yeah. but regardless of them kids going to other schools, y'all still keep a deep line. So, and always have. So somebody likes the school to go there.
Oh yeah, we get our crop of guys that like what we do, you know.
Yeah.
And just getting into the school is a whole other ball game when it comes to actually getting people. Because we have a lot of students that really want to get to FAM, but our admission requirements, honestly, they are up there. So that's a whole nother thing, just even getting it to the school. So when we actually do get students, we just try to make sure we maintain them and keep them through the program and keep everything going.
Cool, good.
Okay. So outside of FAMU, I guess your big brothers are old heads. What or who are some of y'all influences in drumming, or the things you guys do?
For our drum line, some of the influence we have for our line at FAMU, you asking?
Or right.
You guys' influences and your writing styles, you know, stuff like that.
Okay. Our writing style, like now, in the past, I mean, like I said, I started writing in '96 for the section. And I've been writing ever since. It's been a few other guys that have written cadences and written some dope stuff. But for the majority of what the line is writing, myself and Tova are the ones that's writing it and going out there and teaching it, you know. And our style, first of all, it starts at the drum set. It starts with the groove. It starts there. We start there. A cadence, when we come up with our cadences, we both are drum set players. We both tour, so we may have an idea at the drum set and say, okay, I like that groove. Now, how can we turn that groove into a cadence? You know, and that's where he and I get together and we put it all together. Now we approach our style when we write in cadences, our writing style. We approach it like we doing a track in the studio. We approach that thing like we doing a track in the studio. We don't care if the quad part don't sound like this. Our quad part might just be a guitar part that might go. So he might just play, our quad player might just play. On that top drum, because I need that to sound like a rhythm guitar player. You know what I'm saying? We're approaching it like we doing tracks. So once it's all put together, you may not have this really hard part to play, but once you hear all those parts put together, it's an amazing sound. Yeah. And that's how we kind of approach writing. And now we got the kids who can chop with the best of them. So around that groove and around those parts that you might hear, you're going to hear a great snare solo. You're going to hear a nice quint solo. You're going to hear a nice bass drum solo. But the foundation is going to be a drum set groove. You know, that's I like to think our style like that, our approach. That's how we approach it.
Yeah.
Okay.
And okay.
No, go ahead.
Now I was gonna say some other things that influence us, man, is just some of the music that's out there. Mm-hmm. We have a lot of music that sits there, and that music gives us inspiration to go ahead and come up with something else. I'm a big DCI guy. I love a lot of different lines. So I get a lot of inspiration from them, SCV, Blue Coats, all the other lines, man. I just love to have a fat groove, and on top of that, see what we can actually be able to do, and just take the wheels, just get out of a box of what you usually think a cadence would actually be. And then once we approach that, and from those influences, we approach different cadences and things that we're writing, specifically depending on what do we want to play that for.
Okay.
If we want to play something like, all right, we need something to where we're going to chop. We're going to make sure we have that section in there that we can do that. We can make sure, we just want this to groove. We just need something to play in the stands that we can stand up, nice little feel, and have a good time with it. So that's how we approach that and some of those influences, man.
Okay. So I know y'all mentioned when you're writing, you're thinking about a drum set. So what set player influences you guys, or what set player you guys look up to?
Man, that's a long
that's a long list right there.
But again,
give me top two.
For me, I gotta go with, it's like the LeBron James, Michael Jordan conversation. They was in different eras, you know. So I have to name. I can't name just two because I got to go back to Dennis Chambers and Dave Weckl and Benny Calhoun. But then I love to turn on and see Tony Royston. Yeah. You know, Tony is that's my dude. You know, Tony Royston. What's my man? Chopper Fast Hands man in L.A. Eric Moore. That's my dude. I love turning on Eric Moore and watching him. And then I'm a straight ahead jazz player. So now I want to go listen to Tame Watts. Now I want to go listen to, man, with that list can go on and on.
Gotcha.
Yeah. With me, definitely, just depending on what we're playing, I go from love Aaron Spears. Then
that's Aaron Spears. That's his dude, man. That's his dude.
So with Aaron, we playing some stuff like that, but just having a fat groove, Nate Smith, Chris Dave. But depending on what we want to do to just go around the drum and have that versatility, Horatio Hernandez, Thomas Lane, just have that independence, because a lot of things that we're writing, a lot of people truly doesn't understand that when we're writing everything, man, it's truly an entire conversation. It's just playing back and forth. And that's what musically I love with playing drums. A lot of people think about percussion stuff musically, thinking about it melodically through everything that we're playing. So with some of those type of percussion players and those type of drum set players gives great influences on what
they all play melodically, man. Yeah.
You know, that's great that you would mention, your influences, and you pretty much talked about your writing styles and everything. I'm gonna stick on this topic a little bit longer, if you guys don't mind. In your writing styles, which you pretty much tell us is really heavily drum set based, do you guys get a lot of students that come in and are really heavy on drum set? Because I think that would, well, I'll just let you, do you guys get a lot of students coming in that, hey, I'm a drum set player by trade? I'm a drum set player by trade.
We have a couple students that usually come in that are drum set players, every year we have one that's a monster. So the fact that we still haven't done a drum set feature or something like that yet is still crazy. But we don't have a lot of them that's in there. But what they start to come in, a lot of people come in with a blank head because they really don't know how things are structured, how things are taught, how things are supposed to sound. So when people, especially freshmen, when they're coming into the section, they're actually coming in not knowing and trying to understand how it is we do what we do. So you'll have people that are like, they never played drum set, they're percussion players. By mid-season, by the end of the season, they're like, hey man, we need to get on this drum set. How we feeling? Because they start understanding the concepts of what we're doing, the writing style, and it fits. And some of the stuff they're working on independence and trying to figure out how to get that sound by just sitting down on a drum set.
Yeah, I asked that question because conceptually wise, it probably is easier to explain to someone the writing style of, hey, look, imagine if it's a drum set sound like this. Imagine this is pocket being played. You know, here your hi-hat is going over here. This is what we're doing over here with the cymbals. Here's what's happening with the bass drums. Here's what's going on with the toms. Taurus, I like the analogy of the guitar player, just, light stroke. So sometimes as writers, we don't have to always, we can think about, think about the melodic aspects of a rhythm band as well.
Yeah.
So
Exactly.
those are really good points. And I'm happy that you guys brought that to light. And because we've talked to some folks, and everybody, believe it or not, at HBCUs, in HBCU Drumlines, they have their own particular style, so we're not all the same. We got some folks like yourselves who's really heavy drum set oriented, and that transfers over to the drum line. And that's really good. I think that's great.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So, go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say the last thing about that, what really brings our section into that drum set feel, the one thing, Dr. James, that he absolutely loves and been one of the foundation things of our section is that percussion ensemble. So again, even when it comes to marching band, that the actual battery sound is actually just set up and the parts are being played like a full ensemble. Because again, we're going to think melodically more than just rhythmically for everything that we're doing when we're arranging. So
yeah, a lot of people, you'll see a lot of guys like, y'all ain't playing nothing. Y'all ain't playing no chop. Y'all ain't chop. Well,
listen,
that ain't what we're going for right here.
Yeah.
That's what we're going for. We're not going. Then you'll see a cadence that we're going to go for that. But a lot of times, we're not going for that. That's just not our, that's not our base.
It's crazy that you bring that up and people would say that, because after you hear that, 5-6 times, unfortunately the seventh person, nothing personal. Why can't you just let us do us?
Yeah. Right.
Unfortunately, the seventh person will catch that. Man, just let us do us.
Yeah. Yeah.
But what I learned, usually when people be saying that, they secretly are fans.
Yeah.
People saying,
yeah.
they're secretly a fan. Yeah.
I was having a conversation with somebody and with a student of mine. I was teaching a drum set lesson a few days ago, and we just got on the topic of approach. This is our approach. That is your approach. When you go over to the SWAC, they got a certain approach. When you're in the MEAC, they got a certain approach. When you go to DCI, they got a certain approach. Just enjoy what we're doing for our approach. Enjoy what we're listening. Listening to what we're playing and try to get into what we're doing, because this is how we approach it. And we're going to listen to what you're doing and try to understand how you approach it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cool.
So, talk to us about the progression of the line from, I guess, the 90s to the present. I mean, I've seen videos, IG, the PC, Percussion Connection. I guess talk to us about the progression, we are seeing right now.
Okay. I'll jump in first, T. Okay. Some of this, the reason why I got my drum in my bag, because I knew I would have to I got to show you for you to be able to kind of get what I'm getting at.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
In the 70s, 60s, 50s, 60s, 70s, this cadence was played our cadences were played a certain way. They were played as written. if you look at that chart, that cadence was played just like that chart. In one of our replicators we call 7. In the chart, the first note is a rough, just like that. And the cadence goes in. It's played with a rough. It's written like that. But now, as the time went on, stuff evolved a little bit. And by the time you got to when I got to the section in 94, the guys from the 88, 89, 90, they said, look, everybody can play our stuff the way we play it. Everybody can play it like that. So if you hear them play our stuff, they sound like us. So we got to come up with a way to play our stuff and it be beefy and it sounds different, and they can't do it how we do it. They don't understand our concept and how we do it. And that then if the rough went from to a real powerful, it went from to this. All right, so that cadence was first. And then from the 70s all the way up to the 90s, it went. Playing through the drum. In the 70s, it wasn't played like that. You know, we created a way to where we can have intensity, power, clarity, and we could play these cadences like nobody else could. So when you heard us play it, you knew it was us. When you heard somebody else playing it, nah, that ain't FAMU. But then when you heard you hear that job 1,000 miles away. And you know it's us coming because of the concept that is being used to play the cadence. So that's a little bit of, a little bit of history on how we evolved into what we are today.
Okay.
The cadences were played as written back in the day. But in the middle 80s going into the 90s, them guys got together and said, look, we need a way to sound like us, and it need to be us, and everybody need to know it's us. And now everything we play has that concept. It has that power. I'm gonna tell you another thing you learn when you come to FAMU in order to play this concept. We were taught in order to get that sound through that drum, you need to hit that drum like you got a string on the end of this stick, and you want to hit the tip of that. You want to hit that drum with the tip of that stick. So you had to create a whip action. So you see my elbow create this whip action. So because now I can come off that drum, and now I'm playing through the drum. Everything we play, once you understand that concept, everything we play, you use that concept to play it. And now you have what's called a FAMU sound once you've mastered that. When you come to FAMU as a freshman, you don't know that. You don't know that. And you come there and you playing the cadence and you playing the rhythms. But now we got to give you the concept. Yeah. And that's how this thing evolved into what it is today, and our concept and how we sound. A lot of times back in the day, you got a room full of drummers. You hand a guy a pair of sticks, he plays. And then you hand another guy a pair of sticks and he plays, and you can say, that joker went FAMU because of this elbow thing. Because most people got this and they play with their hand, But when we played, we had to create that whip so that elbow flied up, You see that. You see that thing happen. You know that cat went to FAMU because he playing with that FAMU concept. It evolved from what they were doing in the 70s to what you see now. That's what the kids are trying to emulate today. And, and I think that's a big part of our evolution from the way the cadences were played back then and the way the cadences are played now. Now, you guys know that as that change was happening, you got old school like, what are these jokers doing? What is that happens everywhere. You got an old school guy come back, you playing that wrong. Well, no, it's not wrong. We're just trying to create a way where it's us and it's us. You know what I'm saying?
Gotcha.
Man, Taurus, that was awesome. I just want to you articulated that so well. I don't know. I mean, we've talked to a lot of folks, but I think that the articulation of how you explained FAMU's concept is hands down awesome. So good job on that. I want to say thank you for that.
Appreciate it.
Very rarely do you get somebody who say, hey, look, this is what we do. This is how we had to progress the sound of our line. Everybody sounding like us. No, we want to keep it us. And like you said, you shut your eyes, you guys play. Yeah, I know who that is just by the way they sound. So that's good. Speaking of sound, you guys just moved into the SWAC, right?
Yes, sir. We're excited about that too, man. That's gonna be fun. It's gonna be interesting.
Yeah, a lot of people are really. I'm excited about it myself. I'm happy to see that you guys moved over there to the SWAC. And since we were talking about conceptual sound and you guys' sound and everything, how do you feel that FAMU sound will actually hold up in the SWAC against other? When I say sound, drumline sound per se.
Go ahead, T. You got that.
I think the sound is going to be something different and unique to the SWAC. I think the biggest part of it is going to be our instrumentation. One of the things that you definitely hear when it comes to FAMU, that sound that you hear is definitely by our instrumentation. From those 8 tonal bass drums to those 4 scotches, that's going to give you a whole different sound. Or those tenors and toms and those quints, that's going to be.
That's one thing, I don't want to interrupt you. That's one thing we do that nobody else does. We got tenors and we got toms. It's 2 different sounds happening right there. Go ahead, man.
Right. Yeah, so you're getting that different balance, and also the different timbres that you're going to be getting from those tonal bass drums and those Scotch bass drums. And I know a lot of people, we just call them Scotches, even though they're just big tonal bass drums and what everybody playing. But we actually played with tonal bass drums and actual Scotch bass drums, to where we actually get a whole different sound from our actual tonal bass drums. But if I have to think of a way to where, like, you hear the clarity of what we're playing, the SWAC sound, I love it. I'm a huge fan. It's just like me from the South going down the street, and there's like a Chevy, and he is banging out, got 2 15s in the trunk, amp bumping, and you just hear that sound, and it's a Saturday afternoon. That's what I feel with that.
And that trunk rattling.
Yeah.
Trunk rattling.
Yeah, love it. So you banging out. The difference that you'll get with that probably with us is like going into the mall or going into the store and you putting on a pair of Bose headphones and you getting a full clarity of sound. You could turn it up as loud as you want to get the
balance is still gonna be there.
That balance is gonna be there just because the musicality of the band is built in through the same way through the percussion. So everything builds from the bottom up. That's like we're saying, like I'm a producer, Tara produces a lot of stuff, but our section, we actually EQ every single thing that we're playing. So everything is balanced. Everything has its place. Like your quints are not going to overplay on a tenor drum or tone part, because those tenor and the tone parts, it has to have a communication. All our stuff is constantly communicating throughout the section. It could be a piece to where the bass drums are saying, what's up? The snares are answering. But the quads got to come in and be like, hold up, we need to go to the stove. It's a full conversation of what we're playing, and that balance is always there. So I think that alone, just the balance and the clarity of what we play and our tuning as well is another thing to where I think it's going to be a totally different sound from across the field or right there in front of you, because the drums are tuned for you to feel.
Did we lose TJ?
Yeah, we lost TJ. It's like TJ paused.
We lost him. He was just saying the tuning, bro. He'll jump back in here in a minute, but our tuning is going to help us have a different sound. I'm excited about the SWAC, those guys getting the chance to hear our sound in person. You can watch a video, these little clips and all this stuff we putting up. it'll never do it justice. Just like with the SWAC guys. I remember the first time I heard a SWAC line up close in person, shocked me, man. I was like, whoa, they are, that word they like to use, bumping. Yeah, the Chukkas was bumping. I couldn't believe how loud and I got to tell you which line it was. I got to give these guys props, because I used to think, I was like, oh, man, they just play loud. No, they don't just play loud. They got some technique to that thing. It was, what's the school out in Mississippi?
Jackson State, maybe?
Alcorn.
Alcorn. It was Alcorn, man. I got to get, Alcorn was the first SWAC school I saw up close and up person, and they changed my mind about the sound. Yeah, they played loud, but there were some things that they brought down, and it was smooth, and then they got loud again. It was like, woo, it was dope. So our sound is gonna be different, man. I think the people I'm hoping that we like the new kid on the block, and people really listen. And when a new kid comes to the school, everybody trying to find out who the new kid is. Everybody's gonna be paying attention, and I think they're gonna like what they get from our drumline sound, man. We got a real balanced sound, and our tuning and like he was saying, our instrumentation is going to be different than what they've heard in the past.
And that's great, Taurus. And I think, well, we've actually had small conversations about this topic, just the intersection, the interconference battles. But you guys are in the same conference, but now you guys are in the same conference, but you're just bringing a different sound. And I think that's what I know. That's what I'm excited to see. Just the actual sounds, the actual sound difference. The battles and everything that you guys would do.
Yeah, we excited, man. We excited about doing how they do it. They get down on that track and they go at it. We excited about trying to get down there and hold our own, man. We want to see how it goes.
Yeah. So that's good. Really appreciate you elaborating on that. And I'm almost to the point where you said something that I was like, oh man, I know he did. He just gave away a secret of the line when you were like, yeah, look, we don't just use tenor, we use toms and tenor drums. I was like, oh
yeah. That's a whole nother sound, man. It's a whole nother sound. That stuff we get to do in a cadence, you're not gonna get to do this in a cadence. So we feel like we're gonna have a leg up, because as a producer, I can put this part in this song. You can't do that because you can't play guitar. You can't do that because you can't play upright bass. You can't do it. Well, we feel like we got a leg that we're gonna be able to stand on. Nobody ain't gonna be able to stand on that leg because we got something you ain't got.
There it is.
Yeah.
So you hinted at, I guess, the tuning, but I guess if you could elaborate on you guys' tuning methods and choice of drum heads.
Man, I really I wish TJ was on here, man, because he along with Dr. James are really doing all the tuning. They in Tallahassee and doing all the tuning. Our tuning was a certain way for a very long time. Dr. James, man, let me tell you, Dr. James, and I think he enjoyed more than anything. We got a section. Our section is huge. When I was marching, we had like 18, 20 snares, like 5 tenors, 5 toms, 8 tonal bass drums, 5 scotches. He would sit in that band room and tune each and every one of those drums, go down the line by himself. Nobody else. Don't you come in there trying to touch no drum. He like Jesus. He don't need your help. He don't need your help. He will tune each and every one of them drums to right there at a specific note. And if this man got them notes in his head, I with the bass drums and the tonal bass drums, I don't know if he was tuning in thirds, but he had his own way of tuning these drums. And when you walk from the tonal bass drum, when you got to the Scotch drum, it was a note that was helping you transition to the next note that the tenor drum was going to be on.
There he is.
Sorry about that. I don't know what happened. Everything just went out around here.
I was just explaining to them about the tuning, man. Jump in, because I know you're doing a whole lot of the tuning right now. So give them the 411 on the tuning. I was just talking about how Dr. James liked to link the drums up. When he go down those tonal bass drums, when you get to the toms and the tenors, those notes are, based on thirds or based on fifths or whatever. Talk about that.
they're actually just catching right on. Same thing we were talking about earlier about the drum set. That's basically all it was from the time when Dr. James first had the section. Again, same way. He was thinking about everything melodically. And the only thing he had was snare.
God, we keep losing it.
Oh man.
Yeah, I don't know if it's connection.
That's how the actual tom.
Oh, okay.
Oh, there you go. He must be in a bad area, man.
From the snare drum, and you have those different sections going on. And got the melodic line. Now we have the tenor. I mean, you have your tonal bass drums and your quints. So now you adding those different colors and those timbres into your tonal bass drums and your quints. So now when you're tuning down, you're going from your snare drums, your quints. Now when you get to your quints, you're going down to your tenors and toms. Then you're going to your bass drums going all the way down. And then at the far end of that, you have those scotches. Now, one thing we wanted to make sure that we do in the past years, just like we're making an innovation and we're evolving into different things, our bass drums and our quads were tuned for a different reason. They were tuned for everything we needed to do on that field. So you had that back end, and all our bass drums are basically a tonal version of woofles. So you just feel their power coming in. But now with some of the other stuff we were playing, our quads really didn't have a place to sit in when we first had quads. So they were more of an effect type of sound. But now with the tuning, we're coming in and we're doing a lot more playing. A lot of our quints are playing a lot of different parts, and we're matching with our snares and some of the things that we're playing. So the low end of where our quads were before, they couldn't sit there because you're not going to hear anything that comes through. So we needed our quads to be able to cut through. So we cranked the quads up and our quints up a little bit. And we took the front end of the tonal bass drums up a little bit just to make sure with the clarity of everything that we're playing on all these lines, they're not muddy. Mm-hmm. So we're trying to have a good time with that, man. And it's cool. Just like as a producer, man, just like you get different sound packs and different sounds that you get to play with our section, we have so many sounds of different colors that we can use on different things rather than a normal section to where they have snare drums, tenors, quads, and the bass drums. You know what I mean? So with those tonal bass drums, and we go from 18 to a 32, and then we have those actual 4 Scotch bass drums that we have as well.
Okay.
That's really great.
What size are the Scotches?
The Scotches, we play with 2 28s and 2 30s.
Okay.
So that's 28 by 10 and 30 by 10.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha. So thank you both for that. If you guys don't mind, I'd like to just really talk on this subject a little bit more. You guys got a nice full sound. You guys get a great sound, a clarity sound out of your drum line. What's the head preference? And I ask this question because we may have a viewer that comes on, and we may have a potential percussion instructor who's like, man, I'm trying to get a particular sound. What type of heads do you guys prefer? Do you guys prefer for the snares, tenors? When we say tenors, it's the single tenors, the toms, and the quints, and the bass drums. What do you guys use?
Right now, it kind of changed within the technology for the past few years until they really kind of started making them. We play Remo. For the snare drums, we used White Max. But here's something that a lot of people don't know. We actually have 2 different sizes of snare drums in our section. We use 14s and we use 15s. So with that, you kind of get that different sound.
Yeah, that 15 is an odd. That 15 is an odd sound there, right?
Yeah, it's an odd sound, and I think more is just a hard head to find these days because a lot of companies not really making 15-inch drums anymore. So yeah, even with those, man, that's why we used to use those the Platinum 2 heads with the quints and the tenors and tom. We go with the pinstripes. always good, durable sound. And it gives us the timbres that we need, because you need to hear that difference between that tenor and the actual tom. And everything that we're playing with our sections, those tenors and toms, that intensity is there, because to be able to hear what we're playing in that low timbre to fit, they're actually kind of banging out. So that pinstripe is a very consistent head, and it's very durable. And it
Yeah,
gets
that's an old school. I mean, you can the
Never
pinstripe,
change.
the clear pinstripe,
Okay.
clear pinstripe goes back a long way, man.
Been there forever.
Clear pinstripe go back, and we still use it today.
It still sounds good. Still sounds good. Anything on the bass drums? I don't know if TJ fell out again.
We might have lost him. Remo heads. We like I said, we've been using Remo for a long time. Oh, you back? Hey, T, your phone keep cutting in and out, bro.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm actually on my computer. There's something going on with the Wi-Fi. Something just
the Wi-Fi
over here.
But the bass drum heads are normally
but
Remo,
bass drums, Power Max.
No.
The Power
Remo
Max.
Power Max.
And the Scotches are the Diplomats.
Diplomats, okay.
Yeah, because with that, it's actually a thinner head. It's almost like the same thing, but it doesn't have the extra ply on the inside. Because with that bass drums, with the Scotch bass drums, we're not really getting the tone. We're getting that attack that's coming off of that. So you, instead of getting that big boom and the resonance that we get from our tone of bass drums, those Scotches, you're just getting full attack right on it. Just bow. It's just like if you're taking a piece of paper or a box and just coming off that drum and playing that. So
that's really awesome, because you guys, that sound that you guys have is definitely, like Torres said before, you know, I can recognize you guys and who it is with my eyes closed. You guys got a particular sound that you guys come through.
Man, with us now getting into chopping a whole lot, like, I mean, we had to move forward. We had to. Me and TJ been writing for the longest, but now we got a new crop of kids. It's a new era. The handcuffs have been taken off to where we can write more. I hate to use this word, but more core sounding stuff. You know, we can write more notes. You know, we can write more notes. And when I was marching in the band, when I first started writing, I could have wrote all that stuff. Nobody in my line, they didn't want to play none of that. Yeah. Them cats I marched with, all they wanted to do was this. That's all they wanted to do. They didn't want nothing to do it. Not that they couldn't play it.
You need to do that again?
They didn't even want to do it at all.
Dang.
But nowadays, man, we can write. The kids in the band today, they want to do it all. They want to play our old stuff, but they also don't want nobody running up on us thinking, oh, y'all jokers can't play. Okay, we'll show you we can play. You know? So.
And another go ahead, Tosh.
Go ahead, man.
I was going to say another main reason, to be honest, why we're able to evolve now, we actually have a platform to where we can be able to do this stuff. Before we didn't have that. We had nowhere to play our cadences. It got to the point to where the only time we're going to play a cadence is we stand up at the game, get ready to play, and then once we sit down. But now, even when in game time play, you don't have enough time to play that stuff. Hey, that's fine. Flag on the play, FAMU, 10 yards. We just didn't have a platform. And before, it was never a time to where all we need to focus on is what's happening with this show. We have so much stuff to get done in this time to make sure everything is clean with these shows. That's what we need to focus on. And that was the difference between trying to get 12, 13 snares clean to where even when I came in the band, we on that first Honda, we had 24 snares on the field, man. It was nothing for us. Like our normal section, just trying to get those things clean was the feat itself. Yeah. And again, the only time we really had a chance to showcase anything outside of that was Friday night at the Florida Classic. Other than that, we didn't have anywhere to go to do anything. There was no we going to the parade and we gonna have time to just block up and play some of the stuff. No. So with social media, with some of the new stuff that we have going on, even in Battle of the Bands that we did back in the day, we were coming on the field, and just because what our band does, I shows at Battle of the Bands were like 35-minute shows because we were coming. Wow. Everybody wants to see us do the pregame. They want to see us do halftime, and then we have to bring it off the way that we do it. So after that, playing throughout that entire time, when we get ready to be done, when we finish, it's click down. Hey man, let's get some food, grab a chicken box, and go. But now coming into the SWAC,
about us getting over into the SWAC, man, because now we feel like we're gonna have a chance to. People don't know how many nice cadences we got because you ain't never heard of them because we can't never play none of the stuff.
Yeah.
So we're excited about getting into the SWAC where we hear that they let you play. So if it's true what they say, we happy about that, man. It'll give us a chance to really show what we made of, man. We excited about that.
Hey, I'm excited as well. I know I am.
Yeah, me too.
Hey, I wanted to ask you guys because it's Tallahassee, right? Families down there in Tallahassee. And this is a question like the size of your drum line, right? What do you go up to? What do you try to stay? What's the smallest you go down to, and what's the biggest you go up to in the size people-wise?
That's a good one right there.
It all depends on the block. Like right now, we don't have, when I mean the block, like when we said our band for a bop band or how we look for the dancer team, that's our block. It just depends on what the band is actually going to set, what we're actually going to use on the field. Mm-hmm. Like right now, the band is not as big as what we were before. Before we had our percussion section, we had 12-man. We had 12-man rank, but we had 5 ranks. So
12 snares.
No, 12 in one line we had 12 people in one line, but we had 5 of those.
Okay.
For the entirety of the whole section. Right now, we're doing a 12-man, but we have 4 ranks.
And when I was marching in the band, we didn't do 12-man ranks. We did 8-man ranks.
Oh.
We did 8-man ranks. So we had 16 snares. We had 2 ranks of snares. We had that rank with the tenor and toms. We had the rank of bass drums, rank of quads, rank with the cymbals.
Right.
So it changes. It depends on how the band staff decides to do the block. That lets us know how many people we could actually get on the field.
That is a wrecking ball to have a size of a drum line a size like that.
Come in. Certain ranks we know we're gonna have. Like that if it's 8 or 9, for a fact, tone bass drums got their own rank. They're going. Unless we may put a tenor or a tom at the back end of that if we're doing a 9-man. But snare's gonna have those 2 ranks, quad's gonna come up to fill those in, and you have your tenors and your toms. And your cymbals are gonna go in the front and in the back, depending on how many of those we have. And then we always have a whole nother set of people just trying to get on the field at that point.
The backup squad. So I asked that question because that ties into how many kids from around the Tallahassee area do you guys get for auditions and everything? For the drum line.
For the drum line. Honestly, usually we don't get a lot of kids in the Tallahassee area.
Okay.
Because I know for me, even if I grew up in Tallahassee and I wanted to go to college, usually the first thing I'm trying to do is get out of town. But we have our assistant section leader right now. He's actually from Tallahassee. Well, right now in the total of the section, we have 4 kids from Tallahassee, but majority of this section right now is from South Florida. That's where it's usually always been. It's usually always your big number of people from Miami, Jacksonville, then you go to Atlanta, Fort Lauderdale and Broward. That's where your main section is from. But these days we're getting a lot of students from Broward County, Palm Beach County, still get a couple from Jacksonville, our local people who we're getting a lot of are coming from like Pensacola. We're getting a lot of kids from Pensacola. Over the past few years, we're starting to get more numbers back from Atlanta. But in the past few years, we're starting to go out west. Like this past summer when we had our virtual band camp, we had more people from Alabama, Louisiana than we had in the entire state of Florida. And just percussion alone, we had over 92 students percussion.
Wow. That's great.
Wow.
So I think it's going to be a very good thing just actually getting back out, because as of last year, the band really hasn't traveled at all. The only place that we would usually go would be to the Florida Classic overnight, and then that's it. But since we were able to go to the Rose Bowl, the Tournament of Roses Parade, and I think that was 2018, ever since then, that year is when we actually started back traveling. So the big trip when we did the Cracker Barrel Battle of the Bands in Houston, that and actually doing Honda this past year and coming back, now we actually get a chance to travel and people actually get a chance to see the band, because before the only other place you knew or heard the band was online or old video clips or anything that you see like that. And in the MEAC, it's so sporadic to be able to see anybody because they're literally like an 18-hour travel distance between all the schools.
Yeah.
So even if you've seen 2 or maybe 3 schools a year, you were lucky to see those bands. So now with the MEAC, with everybody in our conference, we're 3 hours, 4 hours away. Being in the SWAC, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Everybody, we get to see everybody. Like, we're excited. Like, first game, we see Jackson State in Miami.
Ooh.
Then right after that, we head to Baton Rouge. We going to Mumford. We go back. Alabama State's coming. We see them. We got Grambling. We're seeing schools every week, and we're excited about that just because we're able to get back out and people are able to see the band themselves, because it's a difference from seeing and hearing FAMU on the tape and seeing and hearing FAMU and feeling it in person. It's a whole different experience.
So you guys already got the schedule?
Yeah, and we're excited, man. Very much excited. Yeah.
But I don't remember us, like, to your question, we didn't get a whole lot of local kids. We don't get a whole lot of local Tallahassee kids. Everybody come in from out of town.
Yeah.
Right. So I asked that question because in a couple previous episodes, we talk about feeder schools, and when you have those feeder schools around the area, if you're out in those feeder schools, you start to groom the kids for, hey, look, come on over to us. This is what we want. You're already here. Why go anywhere else? We know the greatness of our program. You can be great too, whatever it may be. But like I said, you guys get a lot of kids from outside of that area to come in.
Back in the day, it was so many cats in the band, especially in the drumline. Back in the day, it was so many cats that come from Miami and Fort Lauderdale.
Yeah.
And Miami and Fort Lauderdale is about an 7-8 hour drive from Tallahassee. All right. But we had so many people in the band from there. You went home for spring break and you was getting your homeboy ready to come up. Our feeder was like Miami and Fort Lauderdale. You went home and got your homeboys ready to come up. The majority of our line was from South Florida, Miami and Fort Lauderdale. But nowadays, you can forget that. We can't even really do no feeder thing. Now, like, you got to have a 3.0 and you got to have a 700,000 on the ACT to get in FAMU. So the feeder thing, trying to just get your homeboy ready, don't even work for us no more at all. You can't even get into school.
And plus, another thing with the feeder, last thing with the feeder thing is nobody plays the way we played. Back in the day, everybody in Florida played like FAMU.
They like FAMU.
Everybody. Mm-hmm. So it was easy to make the adjustments that you have to make because they still have to learn that concept when they got to FAMU. Now, majority of everybody plays in a style close to or similar to Bethune-Cookman. So once you come up, you have great guys that can actually play, amazing guys, but it's still a hard reset once you get to FAMU because you can have great hands, but you still have to understand that concept. So you're still coming into that thing. So that's the hardest thing about a feeder, because again, I can only think of two schools that kind of play a similar style to FAMU in the entire state of Florida.
Good. Well, you made a comment. Taurus made a comment earlier about, and I think TJ, you made the same comment, man. Just to get into FAMU, it's not an easy feat. So once you get into school, that's something. If you make the drum line, you are actually somebody to even get into school, one, and to be on the drum line, because you just can't get in this school.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sorry. Let me rephrase that. It's a challenge. It's difficult to get into FAMU. Okay.
Yeah.
And it ain't always been that way, because, hey, I went there, boy. I ain't did nothing. I barely got through high school. When they were there, it was good that I could really play some drums and have some all-county and some all-state stuff happening, so I could, let my skill get me in, But nowadays, if I had to try to go to FAMU right now, I wouldn't be there. They wouldn't let me in, bro.
Can't make it.
I wouldn't have got in at all.
Well, that's good, man. This has really been a treat. You guys really articulated some great things about FAMU's program, FAMU's Drumline. If you can, just talk to us about the core values for FAMU's Drumline. What are the values that you have set for each individual coming in to your specific line?
Some of the core values, again, they're going to come through our actual percussion ensemble and just our motto of the band motto: highest quality of character, achievement in academics, attainment and leadership, perfection in musicianship, dedication to service. Those things are the bedrock what we do. And when it comes to that section, it's going to be that intensity, that clarity, and the musicianship of everything that we're playing. Because with that, we have to take care of business first. Before we do anything, we have to take care of business. So, and that business is everything that we have to do to make sure that band can function and do what it is that they need to do.
Yeah, all these traditional cadences and how these traditional cadences are supposed to be played, the concept in which you play them. We can't do nothing until we get that, So that the core, our core comes from, we got to get you in here, and then we gotta drive into you, like he said, this musicianship, the way we do it. We got to drive into you this intensity in which we do it. A lot of lines, I like a lot of lines just playing. They just stand there, they just play stuff. But at FAMU, you ain't just FAMU. You playing through your whole everything, everything. It's a difference, So we got to drive into you that our concept, it's a way of life, bro. It ain't just playing drums. It ain't coming drum. You got to live that job.
Yeah, your DNA is literally being restructured.
Yeah.
Of how you play once you get to FAMU.
Intensity is a word we like to use a whole lot.
Yeah.
Your core has got to have intensity. If you ain't got that, you probably ain't gonna make it. You ain't gonna make it. Which is a reason why all the guys on Percussion Nation want to know why we don't never have 15,000 cymbal players. It's hard.
It's hard.
What they have to go through to get on that field and stay there is the most insane thing I've ever seen. The core of that core of that intensity that they have to do their routine with is the reason why you ain't never finna see FAMU with 13 cymbal players, 14, 15 cymbal players. Because Dr. James, he ain't never gonna let up on that intensity that it takes to do that routine. And the routine, what I'm talking about is the concept, way we come on the field, way we go off the field, the things we have to do during the halftime show. He ain't thinking about nothing that we got to do in no feature cadence. The stuff we do in the feature cadence, yeah, we can get anybody out the street and teach them how to do that. But we can't get anybody out the street and teach them the concept of this core stuff that we have to do in the core that we got to build this percussion section off of. We can't, so that's why we have like at the most 5 or 6 of them at the most. And by the end of the season, 2 or 3 of them done quit.
Yeah. I mean, again, it goes back to just one, getting them into the school. That's one. And 2, just keeping them in to learn what it is that we do. Because if we were just flashing and we're just playing those straight chokes, that's one thing. But when we playing that Radicators and you got to play those 16 notes and those straight chains going back and forth that entire time, it's physical. It is rough. And
I've seen it broke. It done broke the best of them. I'm telling you right now, it broke the best of them. So when you talk about our core, man, I would use one word: intensity.
Intensity.
I would use one word.
Okay.
Yeah, I believe you on that. And there again, it all goes back to its shows. And I think what sticks out to me in this episode and talking to you guys is, like you said, it's a bloodline. You know, it's family member after family member, and you have already started to instill what's going to go down at FAMU.
Yeah.
Right.
And I just want to give a shout out to all the cats that came. You talking to me and TJ, but man, we had to go in as freshmen and learn what we know from some pretty amazing cats, man. So shout out to them dudes who we had to come up under that taught us this concept, man, and brought us through that thing, because we now carrying it on, because we love what we do. We still in this thing. A lot of guys, they lawyers now and they're doctors now, and they going on in their businesses, and they can't be around the band and they don't have the time to put this time in. But me and TJ, we kind of, we work for ourselves, we tour, so we got the time to go back and give back to what those guys gave us, so it's like you said, it's a long lineage of cats out there that brought us through and taught us this concept, man. Big up to them dudes.
Right. Thank you.
Another thing from us, man, we're lucky to have had the consistency of our percussion instructor. This is Dr. James' 54th year at Florida A&M University. 54 years. So the consistency is definitely there. The tradition is definitely there. But he definitely understands to where you can't let tradition actually stifle you and kill what it is that we're doing. Because even with tradition wasn't always tradition. It always started with innovation to become tradition. So we definitely thank him for that, letting us be able to continue to have our DNA and actually infuse everything that we need to do to be relevant in everything that we're doing. So that's definitely a big thing. We thank Dr. James crazy amounts of love and respect for everything that he's done for the university, the section, and for the entire percussion department, because that's his main thing, man. And we really got to thank him for that and just the mentorship that he's given us over the years, man.
Okay. So, certain states, certain states with schools, like more than one university, I guess they have somewhat a similar sound and style. Like us, Virginia State and Norfolk, people might say, we look the same, sound the same. North Carolina.
Virginia State got the dope tonal bass drum on earth. I don't care nowhere. Hey,
I appreciate it, man.
Oh my God.
I appreciate it. But the great FAMU and Bethune-Cookman, are in the same state of Florida, 6-7 hours apart. But the sound is, and style is totally different. I guess, could you talk about the contrast in sound and style between the different schools?
I'll step on it a little bit, TJ, and then I'm gonna let you get in.
Okay.
Man, in the 80s, in the 70s, in the 80s, FAMU and Bethune-Cookman sounded a lot alike.
Same thing.
Wow.
Sounded a lot alike. It wasn't until
early 2000s.
As far as the sound goes now, the style of play was a little bit different, but it was the sound, even the style a little bit was very similar, man. It was a traditional style of playing. It wasn't a whole lot of chops and hybrid rudiments and all that stuff happening. It wasn't until this mid 2000s that Cookman's sound made a turn that made them sound completely different from us.
Okay.
I look at some videos of Cookman from the 90s and the early 2000s, and our quints are tuned exactly the same. Quints sound the same. The drums may have been a little bit different because our drums shells might have been a little longer or shorter or something like that, but the tuning was a whole lot alike. But it wasn't until these mid 2000s that Bethune-Cookman sound took a turn. Them snare drums went way up. The quints went way up. The tenor drums went way up. They changed. They changed in where we will never change our sound and our approach to what we do. It ain't never gonna happen. We're gonna play some innovative stuff and we're gonna put some chops in there and do something, but that sound is gonna be the same. So, I mean, it ain't been a long time that we've had a different sound. Okay. You know, it's been a very short amount of time that we've had a different sound from Bethune-Cookman.
Right. I think my first time is I guess when YouTube first came out was actually seeing Bethune with the style they have now. You know, because me being in Virginia, you know, you wasn't seeing, you know, schools before YouTube unless you actually played at school. So okay.
And then you got Bethune-Cookman that I don't know when they started doing this, but shout out to them. I'm a drum set player. I can dig it. Bethune-Cookman like to use, you know, they got attachments. They use them cowbells and tambourines and all that stuff on their snare drum and stuff, which adds to their sound, you know, which add to what they do. And let me say this. We got love. You know, we here and Bethune-Cookman is our rivals and stuff. I have a twin brother, man. In '94, I came and marched snare drum at Bethune-Cookman at FAMU. My twin brother went and marched snare drum at Bethune-Cookman. You know, so it's you know, it's all love. I think as far as the sound go though is I think they made a change where we never changed.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't think a lot of people really and truly understand the love. We talk a lot of noise to each other between Cookman and Fam, but just the love that we have for each other when it comes to playing and percussion. Because I can tell you now, Ore, I've known him since forever. Between him and Dr. James, I've known them both forever. And over the past few years, especially since I've been here working with FAMU, one of the biggest fans, Ore is always every Friday, after every Friday when we do a performance percussion-wise, when we're done with the show, I find Ore, he'd be like, listen, baby, love it. Love what you're doing. And he'd critique it, find another way. Hey, I love this part. How about next time we just try to do this? And you know what I mean? To make things better. And I absolutely love it. It's nothing but respect. And everything always comes back to the point of the musicianship and the love that we have for percussion and just making sure that these kids have the same thing. A lot of stuff get clouded out because it's always a battle and all of this and all of that. But the joy that we have for this music is making sure that these kids can enjoy and do that and find a way to do that even when they're done with college, have an opportunity to do whatever that they want to do and use that transfer of learning, even if it's not drums, that same passion and heart that you have for that, put it in your everyday life. That's where all that stuff actually comes in for, man. And just that in Florida, man, I think we're still tied into that and we really enjoy it.
Yeah, so they sound, man. They sound, like I said, they sound changed. They changed from what they used to be. And it ain't a bad thing. They evolved into what it is they do now, but we just never did. Now, when our program got canceled, when we got suspended, Cookman kind of took off, and we were kind of just stagnant, you know.
Yeah.
We were stagnant. They took off, boy, and now, prior to that, every school in Florida was trying to play FAMU. They was trying to, you know, sound like FAMU. But very quickly, it flipped. It flipped to, you know, Cookman took off. And all those years we were trying to rebuild and try to find ourselves again, man, Cookman took over Florida. You understand?
Yeah.
They took over. And now you hear every school around South Florida, wherever you go in Florida, they pretty much sound like Cookman.
Yeah.
They pretty much sound, and that's the sound. So some people will see them play like that and say that's the Florida style. That's the Florida. Well, not really. It's just that they kind of crept in and took over while we was gone.
Well, you bring up a good point there, and I think, you know, they're a good school. Like you said, we're not taking anything away from them. You guys, we're talking about you guys. I think what really, you know, fueled them to go further. They had a couple of media things going on. You know, they had the episodes there on Netflix and everything. So, you know, boom, 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 you're now reaching the masses and everything. But like I said, that was a good point. So nothing to take away from them.
Yeah, they dope, man. Hey, Cookman's got a dope line over there now.
Yeah, and that was something else that was really big with what they're doing that we didn't have. Cookman, man, the one thing that I always loved about them is before a game, man, they get to play. So, you know what I mean? Everybody gets to see what they do. Yeah. With us at FAM, that's when I go back to what I said earlier. We just didn't have that platform to do that. You know, I mean, we didn't have a lot of times to where we can just go and play and people just see what it is that we do as a
play cadences, like feature cadences. We never really had that platform.
But now we somewhat have that platform to where we can be able to do some things. So it's a lot of things out there that a lot of people don't know about that we actually get to showcase and actually see. And again, man, we're ready to have a good time, have some fun, man.
And let me say this, Bo. I know we're getting down to the end of this, but in that, I mean, a lot of people think FAMU, man, they ain't got nothing. That's because we never really got a chance to sit. But now you're getting a little turnaround. You're getting some people saying, man, FAMU coming up. They going in the right direction. Nah, pretty much, man, we've been playing all this stuff for many years. We just didn't have a platform to show it. Now we have a platform to show it. We ain't played a new cadence. The cadences that these young kids, this stuff ain't new. This stuff ain't new. They just getting a chance to showcase it. You know, only time we've ever written a new cadence is we write a new feature when we play Bethune-Cookman and do that Friday night battle of the bands. Mm-hmm. We always put together. Not always, but for the past few years, we put together a feature for that. But all the stuff you seeing these kids do now, man, we've been doing this stuff for a long time. But now they're just getting the outlet to be able to show it.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Okay.
Well, we want to thank you guys, and we're pretty much going to bring this to a close at this time. But before we go, as I always like to say, it's the bonus round. It's going to ask 2 bonus questions at this point in time. So, Taurus and TJ, check it out. Step away from FAMU right now. You have 30 days to get your hands on any HBCU drumline to change the whole scope of their sound. What drumline would you like to get your hands on?
Ooh.
To play?
Well, no, I'm sorry, to play, to instruct. To instruct their line and teach their line for 30. You have 30 days to go in and say, hey, look, it's my show for 30 days.
All right. How many schools?
Hey, man, it's an open platform.
Okay.
We'll do 2 at the most. 2 at the most, okay?
Okay.
And why? And why? And just say, I want, and why?
The first one, just because I think it's a funny experiment for me, A&T.
NCAT?
NCAT.
Okay.
I think the first reason why I'll do that is I think NCAT is I think they're the closest section to what our instrumentation is and to almost what kind of concept we play. Because I know we actually have similar concepts of language and everything of what we actually play. So just to come around and try something else, I think that would be cool.
Okay.
My other one, I would say probably J-State.
Jackson State, huh?
Jackson State.
Okay.
With Jackson State, it'll just be because of instrumentation and see see what we can actually do to where you hear a whole different sound within the instrumentation that everybody else already has, and to make that different.
Okay.
For me, man, I would give me Bethune-Cookman first. Give me Cookman. I would love to go over there and tune them snares down some. Nah, I would like to go and get Cookman for 30 days just to see, use my approach. I like their approach. Their approach is real rudimental and a lot of chops and but to use my drum set approach to what they do. And then my other one for the same reason will probably be SU. I would like to take SU's sound and then take my approach as far as the drum set thing goes, because they're another section that their snare drummers are very rudimental. I look at SC and they snare drummers when they play remind me of Scottish snare drum. They got that thing to me for some reason. I don't know why I hear that when I hear them. Okay. But I would like to get my hands on them for 30 days and just use my drum set approach to that big old sound that they got. That's about it. Not that I don't like what they're doing. I like what both schools are doing. But I like to think approach. So I would like to see what my approach would sound like at their instrumentation.
Right.
Oh man.
Okay.
Well, that's good. We got NCAT, we got Jackson State, we got Bethune-Cookman and SU, right?
Yeah.
There it is. 30 days. I'm sure you guys could go in there and really give them some different outlooks on some things. So we're about to bring this to a close, but I talked to a EP right here real quick, and I said, "Hey, we're gonna do this time." I see one somebody's already ready with the sticks in his pad. He's ready to go. But DJ, you got chairs with you? Let's do something real quick.
I actually have my pad at the school. I could grab the stick.
That's all right,
yeah,
man.
Play something, man.
Oh, he ready? Okay.
Hold on.
So you got something for us real quick? Something that you just want to? Hey, man, this is me.
All right. Let me go here. I'm gonna play a little excerpt from a little a cadence that we getting ready to teach FAMU this year. And the reason why I'm gonna play this is to show how we're gonna be able to play this choppy stuff, but we're gonna use our concept to do it.
Yeah.
So if you're hearing us chopping, we don't want to chop and just sound like NCAT chopping. We don't want to chop and sound like Cookman chopping. We don't want to chop and sound like Norfolk chopping. We hear us chopping, but it still needs to sound like, oh, that's FAMU.
Yeah.
If you turn your back and close your eyes and we chopping, you still need to say, that's FAMU.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
So it ain't nothing hard, but it's just, you're going to know from this, that's FAMU playing that. All right?
All right.
1, 2, 3.
There it is.
Nice.
So
Real nice.
Chopping, but it still says that's FAMU.
Yeah.
Now them some old cold hands, but when you hear them jitty bugs play,
sounds good.
A little different. The jitty bugs
sounds good to me.
Say what it say. But like I said, it's chopping, but that ain't gonna sound like NCAT. That don't sound like Norfolk chopping.
Yeah.
That don't sound like that's gonna be FAMU chopping. That's us. That's FAMU. You'll know that.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. TJ, you say you got something real quick?
Yeah. Let's see if I can get down. Let's see. Something that we play coming up sometime soon. I'll just do this. So.
Hey, now you see, hey, y'all see that? He the chopper man. I'm the groover man. I'm the groove guy. He chops.
Wow. Both y'all got hands. Both y'all got hands.
Yeah, that's the real deal. Okay. So we're gonna pretty much, EP, you want to close this on out?
And, once again, we want to thank Taurus and TJ for taking time out of their busy day, to come on our cast, HBCU Drumline Talk. We'd like everyone to please follow us on Facebook, Instagram, HBCU_Drumline_Talk. We on Pandora, Spotify, iHeart. Please make sure you hit the like and share button. Once again, I'd like to thank everyone for listening in today. Our cast centered around FAMU. Just want to say thank you guys once again, and everyone in the out there in the audience. Thank you for listening. Have a good day.
All right. Appreciate it, man.
Thank you guys for coming on.